Welcome to the Instagram stories for Tuesday, December 24th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. Today on the show, the YouTube creative liaison, Renee Ritchie, shares an update on how video dubbing is being deployed on YouTube and how you can start to use it on your account today. Additionally, the @creators account shares some really good tips on how to get more reach on your Instagram page. And lastly, a question that came in from a listener on how to optimize strategies around the holiday times will be answered by another listener. All that and more. First, here's a quick commercial break. Welcome back. Let's talk about YouTube auto dubbing. If you are not familiar, auto dubbing generates translated audio tracks in different languages to make your videos more accessible to viewers around the world. Now, if you speak just one language like I do, perhaps you only speak English or you only speak Spanish, you likely record the video in that one language that you speak, but people who don't speak the language that you recorded the video in are pretty much stuck. What could they do in order to enjoy that video? YouTube has a solution. It is called auto dubbing, and I will let Renee Ritchie, creative liaison at YouTube, explain how it works.
Auto dubbing is now available for hundreds of thousands of channels, but what does that mean for creators? I'm Renee Ritchie, a creator working inside YouTube, and I got you. You can check if your channel has auto dubbing enabled by going to advanced settings. This is also where you can customize your options, including whether you want to review dubs before they get published. Next, upload your video. YouTube will automatically detect the language of your video. If your video is in English, it'll be dubbed into French, German, Hindi, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, and Spanish. If your video is in any of those other languages, it'll be dubbed into English. Hindi, Indonesian, and Japanese are currently considered experimental, and you'll need to individually publish them or change your settings in advanced settings to auto-publish them. If you want to double-check your dubs, you can find them in Studio under Languages. If you love your dubs, great. If not, you can unpublish or even delete them. Viewers will see an auto-dubbed label on the video, and they can use the track selector to change languages. That choice will also be remembered for future videos. This technology is super exciting, but it's also super new, and it won't be perfect every time. But the team is working really hard to make it as useful and accurate as possible. How are they going to improve in the future? Well, we're looking at things like expressive speech, which makes dubs sound as natural as the original. And we're also looking beyond audio towards localizing the pixels on the screen as well. So check out auto dubbing and drop your questions below.
This really is fantastic because it gives people an opportunity to enjoy your content even if they don't speak the same language as you. If for some reason, though, you do want to turn automatic dubbing off, you always have that option to do it, so it's nice to have that level of flexibility. I'm going to link to YouTube's documentation all about auto dubbing, so if you want to read up on it and exactly how it works, how to turn it off, how to turn it on, and what other settings you can configure, check the link in the show notes. Now, let's move on to an Instagram @creators account video that was recently shared, 3 tips for engaging your audience with AIMSy TV. I found these tips to be generic, but also I really liked her first tip, all about how to use the Instagram Q&A to find out what your audience wants to know. Here's the clip.
Hello fellow Instagram friends, my name is AIMSy, or AIMSy TV if you know me from Instagram. And I've been in this industry for a bit of a time now, and one of the main questions I get is how can I expand my audience reach? You know, how can I engage with more people from all around the world? How do I speak to them? Well, I've got some tips and tricks that I'm going to talk to you guys about today. The biggest rule of thumb is do Q&As with your audience. Why? Because talking with your audience from all the way around the world is one of the best ways to actually communicate with them. You can learn things through them from literally just doing a feature as simple as doing a Q&A. They get to ask you so many questions of things that you didn't even know people wanted to know. You're also able to embrace so many different cultures from this little feature, like asking just silly questions about yourself and what you're up to, and it's just brilliant. My second tip, use Instagram Reels. Reels are a great way to showcase a little part of your life every single day. I love filming Reels in my space, which is right here, so people are able to see me from a completely different perspective than they're probably used to. Also, my third tip is to be your authentic self. Because I'm putting so much energy into being somebody else that I wasn't even focusing on who I was and what I should be doing. It is so important to ensure that you are being your true and authentic self. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to get tired of the content you're creating. So don't waste your energy on trying to be someone else. Be you. It's the most important thing you can do. I hope you find these tips and tricks useful, and also I hope they help you on your Instagram journey. And if you've got any more questions, maybe tune into one of my Q&As.
The Q&A sticker isn't something I've talked about recently on the show, but I do think it is very important. If you're not familiar, the Q&A sticker is inside Instagram stories. You can ask a question like, what sort of content do you want to see from me? What kind of information do you want to learn? What can I share with you to make your Instagram experience better? You can write literally anything in that box. You could write, tell me your deepest, darkest secret. People see that question box and they will write all kinds of things in there. What's really interesting is what you can do next. For instance, if within the next 23 hours of posting that story sticker, you go live on Instagram, you can actually use the story sticker responses that people have sent in, and you can post those up on the screen during the Instagram live for your audience to see as you answer the questions. The stickers will be anonymous, so no one will know who wrote in what answer, but you could even write your own answers in and just get creative with it because that's the topic you want to talk about. You can, most importantly, use this to shape your future content. So you can create reels around the responses that you got from the Instagram story stickers because you know that the audience who's following you is interested in seeing that specific level of content from you. They want to know what the answer is to how to solve that problem, and they know that you know how to solve it. Great suggestions on how to use the Instagram story sticker. Experiment with it. You won't be disappointed. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, one of the listeners to this show sent in a question for a social media strategy around the holiday time of year, and one of the listeners to this show answered the question. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's get into a question that I received from one of the listeners of this show. Olivia wrote in and said,
I know you said it's slow over December instead of doing the usual yearly Rewind Plus predictions. I would love to learn more about how to optimize strategies over the holidays. There are such massive shifts in engagement patterns, viewership interests, etc., all topics that are not covered with the same quality and accuracy as you deliver. Regardless of what your episodes feature over the rest of the year and the one following, I will be here listening happily.
Here to answer Olivia's question is friend of the show, Ashley Coffey.
Hello, my name is Ashley, and I have been listening to the Instagram story since about 2018. Shout out to Daniel for always delivering accurate and engaging news on the latest social media trends. It's how I've been able to stay up to date as a business owner, entrepreneur, and much more. There have been some people that have been asking Daniel about how to optimize your social media strategy over the holidays. Before you start to optimize your social media strategy for the holidays, you have to ask yourself, what is the goal in mind? What are you working towards? Are you looking to overhaul your social media? Are you looking to rebrand it? Ask yourself what that is, and then work your way backwards from there. I myself am running a contest on my business Instagram page to drive more followers. Everyone loves a good contest, and Amazon gift cards work really well. If you're going to do a contest on social media, make sure you adhere to all of the Instagram, Facebook rules out there when it comes to giving contests out. Now, another thing you can do is do a social media audit. What do you mean by social media audit? Well, you can actually take your social media and create a little bit of a checklist. You don't necessarily have to run it through AI, however you can. I always like to follow a 3-2-1 method on auditing my social media. So if I look at someone's social media profile, I should be able to see 3 touch points of what that person means, whether they're a business owner, a social media influencer, an activist. If I don't see those 3 things within 30 seconds, I'm confused about what the value of this person's profile, organization's profile, is going to provide to me. Now, the second thing I look for is the actual byline. I know some people treat this as number 1, but we're mostly visual characters, and we're seeing the shift where people will watch before they read. So that's another thing that I think is important to remember. But in your byline, simplify, simplify, simplify. I see too many people trying to stuff keywords in there, and be careful about the emoji uses that you're using. I've been doing a little bit of A/B testing this year to see what people like on that front, and simplifying as much as key. I tag my podcast, I tag my business, and make sure it's a one-liner. That way people understand who I am and what I do. Now, number 1 is take a look at your profile picture, and does it stand out? If it doesn't, maybe consider some adjustments. So my personal brand is centered around the color pink as an homage to my grandma, who always wore pink lipstick. So if you go to my social media, you'll see pink all over the place. But it's really important that I do that, and I have it consistent across all of my social channels. So let's say I post an Instagram story. I'm going to be much more identifiable and easy to recognize up there at the top circles with a pink background versus, the background that everyone else has that's just like, white oatmeal or whatever. I like using a hero color. So find what that hero color is for you. If that's not something that you like, then maybe look at what your brand, your personal brand is standing for. Simple is key. I recommend starting small. And don't forget, I'm trying to remind people of this, especially in the age of AI. If you create a logo on AI, you can't trademark that. So just be careful. Now, I know that's a lot. So just a quick recap. Give yourself a social media audit this year. Ask yourself what your goals are and work your way backwards when it comes to optimizing your social media strategy. And consider ways to stand out from the crowd. Stay hydrated, do something nice for someone. And thank you to Daniel Hill for letting me co-host the Instagram stories /briefing.
Thank you to Ashley for being such a longtime listener of the show, a great supporter of the Instagram stories, and for answering that question. If you would like to participate in the show, send audio to one or all of the following questions. Number 1, what's your favorite Instagram feature in 2024? Number 2, what was your favorite TikTok or Reel trend from 2024? And number 3, what are your predictions for social in 2025? In the show notes for this episode, I have written out the questions and a starter script so that you can begin with something. That makes it a lot easier. Get me the audio as soon as possible because the next episode that I record of this show will feature some of the audio from me as well as you who listen. So I think you're going to really like it. Send me the audio as soon as you can. As always, be sure to come back next time for more social media news, strategy, and other things you need to know.
Let me tell you a couple things that you should know about me. A product manager but do not have a bachelor's degree. But actually that's factually a fraction of me. Another fraction's posting content irregular and irrationally. Still probably won't get a job at the Gram. They forgot, they don't know, or don't care who I am. That's why you never see me at the parties and events. My lack of followers must make me irrelevant. Don't have a course, a book to sell to make a bag of grand. Not a social media marketer, don't represent any brands. Plain to see, don't have an agency, but I got a lot of spam. Just putting in my work without the glitz and glam. Won't catch me eating fish unless it's shrimp or clam. No six pack, no risk that there's a gym card in my hand. Don't have a full-time job, but I got a lot of plans. Stay plotting, dropping knowledge on TikTok and Instagram.